Werewolves don't exist ch.10. Adam's POV. I had just gotten off the phone with Tala. Who would have thought that the adorable little lonely girl who was my best friend would grow up into a werewolf hottie? I'm just saying, if I wasn't gay. I wouldn't have noticed she was a werewolf if it wasn't for the occasional growl she let out in class. The scent is barely noticeable. Anberlin. Tala's going to be here in about 10 minutes, I yelled as Connor walked into the room. New person, he asked with his little boy charm. I smiled, yeah, he just grinned and walked off into his room, and right then Anberlin walked in. So are we going to tell her since she obviously doesn't know, she asked. I sighed and ran my hand through my hair, a bad habit I had picked up forever ago, because of Tala actually, and the memory made me internally smile. No, we will when the timing is right, I said, a bit frustrated I had to lie to someone who was practically my best friend. Anberlin looked at me confused. She is so clueless sometimes. Let's just get rid of any evidence, I said, hearing Connor laughing at something in his room. Tala's POV. I was walking up the familiar driveway. I got to the door, but before I could even knock, the door was open to revile Adam. I was surprised, but it melted away as Adam gathered me up into a hug. I really have missed him. Hey Adam, I laughed, hugging back. Come on in, he said, letting me in. I walked to the living room and sat down. This place hasn't changed any, I said. Nope, not at all, Adam said with that grin on his face like always. Just then Anberlin came in. Following closely behind was an adorable little boy with dark chocolate brown eyes and blonde hair in a faux hawk style. He was the cutest thing I had ever seen. Anberlin stopped at the couch, standing up, and smiled. The little boy, being shy, hid behind Anberlin's leg, peeking at me. I smiled at him and leaned down a bit. Hi, I'm Tala. What's your name, I asked, softly smiling at him. I watched his eyes search my face for a moment. Then he stepped out from behind Anberlin and walked up to me. He looked at my face for another second. I'm Connor. Will you be my sissy, he asked, so sweet it melted my heart. I surprised me for a second, then I felt honored that he would ask me such a question. I picked him up. How about I be your sissy, Tala, I said, tickling him. He giggled and nodded as I sat him on my lap. He just sat there quietly as Anberlin sat down beside Adam on the couch. I'm glad he likes you. For such a little guy, he is a great judge of character. Anberlin giggled like it was an inside joke, but I shook it off. I smiled at the docile little boy on my lap. Then I had to ask Anberlin something. Can I just call you Anne? I asked. She got a grin on her face. Sure, I can go by Anne. August Carr. That's why I introduce myself with my whole name. People like to make nicknames out of them, she said, grinning. I nodded while looking around. Then something hit me. Adam, where's your mom and dad? I asked. There was a silence. I'm going to go check on something, Anne quickly said, leaving. Now. I was confused. Then Adam lost that signature smile and I knew something wasn't right. Mom and dad died in a plane crash with Anberlin and Connor's parents too. That's why we moved back here, he said, looking as if he might cry. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, I stumbled out, feeling guilty for bringing up back memories. It's okay, we came here and found you, he said, bringing back a smile, but I could tell it was forced. Then, before I could blink, Anne was there in front of us. Connor was still quiet. Adam, can I speak with you outside, she said. He looked at her, confused. Yeah, can you watch Connor for a minute? Adam asked. I nodded. When they left, I tried to listen, but they had gotten too far away. Darn it. Sissy Tala, do you want to watch TV? He asked, looking at me with his big brown eyes. Sure, why not, I said as he wiggled out of my lap and grabbed the remote, then flipped on the TV. I was surprised he knew how to use it. He seemed very smart for a 3-year-old, even though I'm pretty sure he's almost 4. Shadow editor here to tell you that us youth here are all techies. 3- and 4-year-olds work TV remotes. That is all. SE. Over and out. The emote is a shark. I saw the show Adventure Time was on. I know it sounds pitiful, but I love this show. I scooped him back up into my lap so we could watch the TV. P.S. Adventure Time has so many hidden meanings, it's hilarious. -S.E. After a while I hear Adam come in looking stressed, but stopped when he saw the TV. How old are you, Tala? He asked sarcastically. Old enough, I said, sticking my tongue out at him and smiling while all of Connor's attention was still on the TV. So what's up, Buttercup? I asked, popping the P. Adam frowned. They are kicking us out, he said, running a hand through his hair. I noticed this gesture and internally smiled. He started doing that when I started climbing really tall trees when we were kids. But then I came back and realized what he had said. I tensed up and heard a growl in my head. "Let me out and we can rip that landlord apart together." What? Out? Together? Geez, I can't believe you haven't figured out what I am yet. Of course I have. I have accepted that I am a crazy person that hears a voice in my head and talks back to it. No, I'm your wolf, stupid, your primal animal instinct. What? Why didn't you say anything earlier in life? Like you could have told me I was a werewolf. Hey, it was too much fun messing with you. Whatever. I'm blocking you out now. And with that, I pushed the voice to the back of my mind and came back to what was going on. Then I got an idea. I pulled my cell phone out and dialed my house number. Hello? Alec, it's Tala. Oh hey. How many more rooms do we have unoccupied at the house? I saw Adam's eyes get huge and he started making signal telling me not to do it, but do I ever listen? ... Of course not. About 6 or 7 more. Dang, that's more than I thought. Why do you want to know? Well ... Can I bring some more people to stay with us? Their landlord kicked them out. Tala. These are people, not pets. Please. Okay, Tala, but be careful because they don't know about you know what. I will. Bye. Bye. Mo. I hung up doing a victory dance in my head. I saw Adam glaring at me, but I didn't care. It's settled. You guys are living at my house, I said triumphantly. I get to be with Sissy Tala all the time, Connor said, looking at me. I swear this kid is melting me. Yep. And you even get a room next to mine, so you better go pack, I said, sitting him off my lap so he didn't jump and hurt himself. Yay, he squealed, running to what I assumed was his room. I laughed and looked to see Anne beside Adam. How does she do that? You guys can stay with us, we have enough rooms, and Connor can have my old room that's made for a kid, I said, and I will not take no for an answer. So go pack, I said, crossing my arms to show I was final. Adam laughed and shook his head. You are so stubborn, Adam said, flicking my nose and walking upstairs. Did I ever tell you how much I love you? Anne said happily as she gracefully walked up the stairs. About 30 minutes later, they were all packed and ready to go. We had gotten to the house and had introduced everyone, and of course DeRay and Brazen were still there. Connor was quiet the whole time. I felt special that he talked to me. All the guys except for Brazen and DeRay were looking at Anne and Adam cautiously, like they would attack at any minute. Even though this confused me, I just thought that it's because they don't know each other yet. Plus, I think I saw Bo eyeing Anne. I saw DeRay looking at me weird, so I decided to go for a walk to help me clear my head. Connor, Sissy Tala is going to go for a walk, but I'll be back to give you a bath and put you to bed. Okay, I said to him. He ran up and gave me a hug, then quickly ran over to Anna and hid behind her leg. Be careful out there, Adam said, kind of scared like. I smiled at him. Oh, if he only knew. I'll be back later, guys, I said, slipping on some shoes and walking out the door. About 15 minutes of walking and thinking later, I began to feel like I was being watched, but I shook it off because I just figured one of the guys had followed me because Alec told them to. After a while, though, I felt like I was being glared at, and that's when I knew something was wrong. I stood completely still, listening in to try and hear anything at all that sounded weird. A second later, I heard something snap, but before I could even turn all the way around to see who or what it was, everything went black. My last thought was sadly, what the double pocky sticks is going on here? S.E.-OMG, I love pocky sticks. Japanese cookie sticks. They're amazingly awesome. Werewolves don't exist. ch.11. Tala's POV. Okay, I'm going to kick ass when I find out who did this. I slowly opened my eyes, but all I saw was darkness, so I reached out my arm to see if I could feel anything, but there was something tight around my wrists, and a loud clanking noise sounded. What the hell? I suddenly started to panic as pure instinct started to take over. I pulled frantically, realizing the things on my wrists were shackles chained to the wall in an unknown place. Then the voice of my wolf revealed itself in a deadly tone. Let me take over. No, what if humans did this and they don't know about me? It would be a disaster. I can get us out before anyone notices. Before I could argue some more with my wolf, a door opened and a man 20 times bigger than me stepped in. The light coming from the door showed me an evil grin on his horrifying face. I would be lying if I said I wasn't scared. He flipped on a light, and I saw a sickening sight. I was in what looked like a scene from one of those hospital horror films with old blood stains on the walls and on the floor with old torture devices that were used for experiments. "Looks like you're finally awake, mister." Creepy's deep voice grunted with the deadliest grin I have ever seen. With that, he turned away and left me in the room, alone and wide-eyed. "Okay, calm down, Tala. This isn't happening. You're dreaming. This is a huge fake dream. Now I'll wake up, and I'll be back to my boring, normal life." But it was as if God himself was mocking me, mister. Creepy walked back in, but behind him, with a snotty expression, was a bleach blonde with a fake tan Mistera. "Here is the girl the subjects ran to," he said to MS. Fake? Subjects? Ran into? What the chocolate fudge sticks is going on? Nobody ran to me, and who are these subjects? "Good," she shrieked. "Nope, I won't take this chick's voice. I won't do it. I would rather mister." Creepy slit my throat right now. "Hey, I think you lost something," I said. MS fake seemed taken aback by the fact that I talked, but walked right up to me with retaliation. What she said with that dumb blonde look. She is obviously screwing whoever she works for because he isn't keeping her around for her brain. "Your virginity 10 years ago." I said snidely, showing my teeth in a threatening gesture, but then I realized they were both humans and would just think I was crazy. Shadow editor here. I have to say I found that dumb blonde bit very offense. Not all blondes are dumb, and I happen to do quite well in school. Stop making smart blondes feel bad. Author, I'm sorry, blonde peoples, I didn't mean it that way. I'm a natural blonde and I think I'm pretty smart, but you know those blondes that are so stupid you can't stand to be around them. Yeah, that's the kind I'm getting at. Sorry again, please don't take offense to it. I'll show them when I get out of these chains. MS. Fake looked pissed. Good, I hope she leaves. I can't stand her voice. Do what you want with her. Just don't kill her. We still need her, she said, smirking evilly. I wanted to swipe that smirk off her face, and I mean literally take my claws and swipe it off her face. She stomped out, and I saw the big guy pull out a knife, grinning like a madman. Oh, I'm gonna be here a while. Shit. Alex POV. I was getting worried. Tala had been gone for almost 5 hours. She usually is gone this long on walks, but it isn't like her to be gone so long when she promised Connor she would come back soon. Connor was now refusing to bathe and go to bed without her now. "No, I want sissy Tala," Connor squealed at Anne Boleyn. I winced at the shrill sounds, and Anne Boleyn sent me an apologetic glance filled with a bit of sadness, almost like she knew what I was feeling. There was something about all three of them that doesn't set right with me. It wasn't that they felt like a threat, it's just they were. Different. They smelt mostly human, but they had just a hint of something. I had never smelt anything like it. I could tell even the all-knowing Ryan was confused by it. I heard a scream in my head. I can't take this. Where is Tala? Ryan's angry voice ringing in my head had brought me back to the realization that my baby sister was missing. Everyone had worried looks on their faces. "Guys, let's go look for her. Anne Boleyn and Adam, you guys stay with Connor," I said sternly and standing. So DeRay, Brazen, Ryan, Yuma, Bo, and I all went toward the backwoods toward Tala's scent. We were all smart enough to know not to turn into a wolf, at least not yet. But as we got farther into the woods, I got a really bad feeling. It's like that brother-sister thing. We all ran to the spot her scent was the strongest. "I'll kill whoever did this," I heard Yuma growl through clenched teeth. I quickly moved to where Yuma was, and to my horror I saw a crowbar with red on it, and the stench of Tala's blood rolling off of it. A terrifying roar shook my body. Find them and sever their heads from their fucking bodies. Bo's POV. Everyone was pissed to the max. I may have the IQ of a 5th grader, but even I was smart enough to know we had to tell the newbies our secret. I saw the looks on everyone's faces. I expected a breakdown from Alec, but how could a girl we barely know have such an effect on us already? 2 looks stood out most though, Yuma's and DeRay's. Their faces held so much anguish it hurt to just look at them. I felt devastated. I had grown so attached to Tala already. She was like my sister. I immediately understood this was no time for jokes or being cute. "Guys, change and run back to the house," now Alex said through clenched teeth and losing it at the end. Everyone silently changed, too shocked to say anything. We all quickly ran to the house as fast as our legs would take us. We all changed in front of the house. "We have to tell them. We need all the help we can get," Ryan said calmly, but you could see the fury in his eyes. Everyone briskly walked into the house to see Amberlynn looking like she was about to cry. I want to help her, I really do, but Tala is the first priority at the moment. I could feel the tension in the air. "Tala's gone missing," Alex said numbly. All of a sudden, Amberlynn burst out into tears. Adam tried to comfort her, and we all just looked in shock and confusion. Adam gave us a hard look. "We know what you are, and we know who took Tala," he said. "Okay, now it's my turn to butt in." "Who?" I yelled, not caring that they knew about us, and I could tell none of the other guys did either. We were just focused on getting Tala back. He sighed. "Amberlynn and Connor aren't really my cousins," he said, pausing. "Go on," DeRay said in a threatening voice. Adam cleared his throat. "We escaped from a special experimenting hospital for people with special abilities," he said in a bit of a rush, "and they must have took Tala because she is the one person I know," he said. "You knew and let her go out anyway," Ryan yelled, giving a thunderous growl, finally snapping. "He has a lovely temper, no?" Adam gave him an icy glare. "How was I supposed to know they would get her? I'm just as torn up about this as you guys." Adam said, his voice escalating higher. Just then Brazen decided to talk. I guess he had just been evaluating the situation. "Fighting isn't going to help us find Tala," he said, looking angry. "You're right. Where is this place?" Alex said. "It's about an hour away for you guys," Amberlynn said, sniffing, her makeup running and guilt in her eyes. "Why was I attracted to her so much? She isn't even a werewolf." "Our powers could come in handy, and I also have a friend that will watch Connor," Adam said quickly, walking into the other room to call someone. "So who's back?" as Amberlynn, riding on Brazen, asked. "I think he is the most stable of us at the moment." "I'll take her," I said quietly, still too saddened to be my happy-go-lucky self. Everyone paced while waiting for this person that was going to watch Connor. When he finally did arrive, he looked oddly familiar, but it didn't matter right now. We all rushed outside to a place safe to change. Amberlynn jumped on my back, which sent sparks through me that confused me, but I soon shook it off as Adam jumped on Ryan's back. As we were running, I knew we were all thinking the same thing. "Tala, just hold on for one more hour." Werewolves don't exist. ch.12. Tala's POV. It was horrible, and I was losing blood quick. I watched as Mr. Creepy left with a satisfied grin on his face. He had stripped me of all my clothes and cut me everywhere. When I say everywhere, I mean everywhere. I shuddered at the thought and pain. I think they know I'm a werewolf, though, because I remember Ryan saying something about werewolves healing faster than normal people, but Mr. Creepy kept dipping that knife into some sort of liquid before cutting me, and like I said earlier, I was losing blood fast and it showed no signs of stopping. "Hey, I know this is kinda early for the shadow editor, but I just wanted to say that guy is a sick, perverted bastard." Sir, I just had to say that. As I laid in my misery, slowly losing the ability to move, I heard the door open. Expecting to see Mr. Creepy back for a second round, I growled murderously, showing my dog-like teeth, knowing that if I even attempted to change, I would probably die, but instead of Mr. Creepy, I saw a girl around 19 or 20 in a maid's outfit. I still growled, not knowing if she was going to do something harmful. She cautiously moved closer and I saw some clothes in her hand, so I stopped growling but still bared my teeth. I could feel myself getting weaker by the second. She got up to me and smiled softly. I just stared at her blankly, partly because I was too weak to do anything else and partly because I didn't want to show emotion. "I'm so sorry for what they did to you," she said, looking sad. Why the heck is she sorry? She just sighed when I didn't say anything. "I'm not allowed to patch up your wounds, but I'm going to put some clothes on you, okay?" she said, holding up a ragged black shirt, a pair of gray shorts, and some undergarments. She smiled. "The underwear and bra are mine. I thought you might want them," she winked. I was now so weak all I could do was muster her up a small smile, but she seemed to understand and her smile grew huge as she slowly dressed me, trying to avoid the bleeding cuts as much as possible. I winced every few seconds and she nervously said sorry. She looked at me into my eyes for a moment after she finally got the clothes on me. I took this brief moment to look at her. She had short, choppy auburn hair, light brown eyes, pale, flawless skin and had the left side of her lip pierced. She was extremely pretty. I wonder what her name is. The next thing I know, she's answering my question. My name is Brianna, but most people call me BreeBree, she said happily. What the hello, kitty? I scrunched my eyebrows together in confusion. Oh, that's right, you don't know about this place, she said, lightly hitting her forehead lightly with her hand before continuing. Well, this place is a experimenting hospital of sorts, she said. People like me get brought here, she continued. People like her? Yes, like me. As you may have noticed, I am reading your mind. Just by looking into your eyes, I can now look through information in your head and read your mind, even though I rarely use it, but I kinda have to at the moment, she said, smiling. But why am I here? Well, see, these 3 people escaped and they must have run to you because they are using you to lure them in, she said nervously. Then realization hit me. Adam, Connor, and Anberlin. That the ones. I have been around Adam and Anberlin since we were about 11 in this awful place, but Connor just got here, BreeBree said. That must be why Adam left, his parents shipped him off here. Oh, and to save you the worry, I know that you're a werewolf, she said, grinning. All of a sudden there was a loud bang noise outside. What was that? Oh, wait. I don't know, she said, a bit scared. I didn't have much time to think about this as I was drifting in and out of consciousness. I sent one last thought out to BreeBree. If I die, make sure you get your ass out of here. Alex POV. Whoever took her is going to pay. We finally stopped in front of an old-looking hospital. I sniffed the air. She's in there, Yuma's voice rung in my head. I nodded once, and we barged in, seeing only a fake-looking girl and a huge-looking man who reeked of Tala's blood, which got me pissed. I saw them both look at all of us in horror. I then saw DeRay, Brazen, and Ryan nod. We can take care of them, Ryan's voice came in my head. I nodded, nudging Adam and making him jump on my back while those 2 idiots were still gaping. All of a sudden Ryan lunged at them, followed by the other 2. The girl let out a shriek, and the man screamed. It might seem cruel, but what would you do if they took your sister and she could be dead? You sure as hell wouldn't let them live. I didn't stay to witness the slaughter. I took off in search of Tala. I finally tracked it to a door that was dead bolted from the outside. I could faintly hear the growls and screams from back at the front door. I'm guessing they are going to be taking a long nap, evil smirk. I burst through the door to a horrid sight. There was blood everywhere. Some was old and some was Tala's and fresh. My face turned to disgust at the smell. Then my eyes turned to a beautiful girl with auburn hair in a maid's outfit. She was back in a corner, terrified. In my head, I was howling like crazy while I was trying to hold it in. Then I felt guilty that the last thing my eyes went to was my unconscious sister covered in cuts, bleeding to death. But what I felt super guilty for was that it only took 2 seconds for Yuma to be by her side while I was gawking at this beauty in a maid's outfit. I quickly raced over to Tala, seeing Yuma nudged her, hoping she would wake up. He then lay down beside her and stuck his head between his paws and whined. This gesture confused me, but then Anberlin jumped off Bo's back, who was looking sadly at Tala's unmoving body. BreeBree. Long time no see, she said, and suddenly the girl in the corner perked up and ran to Anberlin. You can help her, she said breathlessly, shifting her eyes. I looked at Anberlin questioningly. Anberlin kept her eyes on Tala's body. It's one of my powers. If she's not too far gone, I can heal her enough to where she'll be okay, she said somberly with a hint of doubt in her voice. Yuma jumped up and nudged Anberlin over to Tala. Anberlin rubbed her hands together. I hope this works, she sighed. This is a glimmer of hope. Maybe she will be okay. Werewolves don't exist. ch.13. Tala's POV. I slowly woke up to a bright light. I slowly got up off the ground as my eyes adjusted to see that I was in the middle of a huge valley full of flowers. All of a sudden I felt a breeze whip around my legs. I looked down to see that I was in a white silk dress that went down to my knees. Then I also realized that all the cuts from my body were gone. Am I dead? All of a sudden there was an extremely bright light. I squinted my eyes and actually closed my eyes for a second. When I opened them up, I saw a beautiful woman with the same blue eyes that I have and brown hair. Beside her was a man with raven black hair and green eyes. He had his arm around her shoulder and they were both smiling. I looked at them confused. The man chuckled. "She doesn't remember us, dear," he said, his voice sounding painfully familiar. The woman pouted a bit playfully. "I'm hurt my own daughter doesn't remember me," she said, smiling. "Darn, you gave it away, honey," the man said. "Mom and Dad? No way. It's not possible." "Mom, Dad?" I asked quietly in shock. The woman tore from the man's arm. "My baby," she yelled, running to me and engulfing me in a hug. "Mom," I cried as we hugged and she stroked my hair. We pulled back. "She's grown so much," Dad said, coming over to us. "Dad," I yelled, hugging him. "Hey, princess," he said, laughing. I pulled back. "Am I dead?" I asked them sadly. They looked at each other and laughed. "Not funny, guys. I would like to know if I'm ever going to see my brother and friends again," I said, a bit sassy. "But I really want to know." "She has your attitude, Zachary. No, honey, you're not dead, but you are on the verge of death, which hopefully you will pull through. That's the reason we are able to talk to you now," Mom said. "I'm almost dead. Oh God, I don't want to die." Dad laughed. "Sorry if my daughter and I like sarcasm," he said to Mom on the attitude comment. Obviously, they weren't as worried about my situation as I was. "Why didn't you ever tell me you were werewolves?" I blurted out, coming off of the high of seeing my parents once again. They both looked at me oddly. "You were so little you wouldn't have understood," Dad said kindly. That same voice I remember comforting me when I was little. "But you still told Alec and I just found out on my 18th birthday," I said, just a bit hurt. "We are truly sorry, but we didn't want to drag you into this too soon and we wanted someone to know just in case we did die," Mom said. "Wait, you knew you were going to die," I said. "Do you want to tell her the story, Victoria?" Dad said, looking at Mom with nothing but love in his eyes. "That's what I want. I want a love like my mom and dad. A love that even death can't break apart." "Okay, well, there is a horrible man by the name of Robert. But if I'm not mistaken, he goes by Robbie these days," Mom said, trailing off into her own thoughts. "I wonder why when I was a kid I didn't notice that they talk so proper ... Wait, it's hard telling how old they actually are." Ryan said something about, "We age very slowly, so for all I know my parents were in their 200s when they died." "Victoria, you're trailing off again," Dad said, laughing lightly. "So that's where I get it from." "Oh yes, but anyway, him and your father were very good friends at one time and then they got in a huge fight over me. But not like you think it was because your father was spending so much time with me. He tried to explain to Robert that it was almost impossible to stay away from your mate very long, but Robert was having no excuses," Mom explained. I was listening, starting to get mad, but oddly I was still stuck on the proper talk. "If they were alive, would I talk like that? ... Off topic, Tala. Listen, bad girl. So one day the fighting got so bad that Robert just disappeared and everything went into nothing but peace. So things went on and we had your brother and you. After a while of peace, we out of the blue got a note that threatened to hurt you too unless we gave ourselves up. We knew it was Robert because it had his scent all over it. We talked for a long while until finally we came to the decision that we would give ourselves up. You two were worth so much more than our mere lives. So that night we told Alec about us being werewolves and explained to him when the time comes he would turn and to make sure he watched over you. Then Dad chimed in, even though I never thought he would shelter you that much, he mumbled. Mom glared his way. I think he has done an excellent job. But anyway, before I was interrupted by Mr. Rude over there. I giggled and Dad just grinned the same goofy grin that Alec has. I was saying that we told Alec everything and we left off to the directions the note had told us to go. When we got there, we were ambushed without knowing it. They used the same thing on us that man used on you with the knife ... And you know what happened next, she said the last part softly. I was beyond pissed. I inhaled through my mouth and exhaled through my nose. Oh, she has always had your temper, Zachary, Mom said. She takes after me a lot, doesn't she? He said, cocking his head to the side. One question, though, I said. What is it, Dad asked. How old are you guys, I asked. I saw my mom's face twitch a bit, and my dad was laughing hysterically. A lot older than we look, Mom said. Dad was still laughing. This isn't funny, Zachary, she said, hitting him in the arm. Yes, it is, he said. I started to join in laughing. Mom stomped her foot and crossed her arms. You guys are so mean, she whined, which made me laugh even harder. I knew my parents were awesome people. All of a sudden the sky began to rumble, and it started to get darker. I looked towards my parents confused. They sadly looked at me. I knew you were a trooper, Princess, Dad said. What do you mean? I asked. Mom smiled sadly. You're waking up Tala, she said. I looked at my parents wide-eyed. I'm not ready to leave yet. I quickly ran up and hugged Mom, then Dad. Then I stepped back. This was great, guys, we need to do it again, I said, not wanting the moment to be too sad. Mom laughed. Wow, you also have your father's humor, she said. I smiled. I love you guys, I'll never forget this. I hope to see you in a long time, I said, laughing at my own cheesy joke. My dad smiled. Goofy, we love you to Princess. Hopefully you don't have any more near-death experiences, he said, waving. All of a sudden everything went white, then nothing but blackness. Alex POV. It's now Thursday. In case you aren't counting, it's been 5 days since we found Tala almost dead. After Anne Boleyn did her thing, she said she had healed Tala enough to where she would live but wasn't sure when she would wake up or if she even would. So we brought her back home in hopes she would wake up. We can't take her to a doctor because, well, you know the whole werewolf thing. So all we could do was take care of her and hope for the best. But now it's been 5 days and the hope that she would wake up was fading away slowly. I was looking at her in her bed now. She just looked like she was sleeping, except the fact that her cheeks were a bit sunken in. Beside her, where he had been almost every second of every day, was Yuma. Of course, I had already figured it out by now. I wasn't that dumb. Of course, the protective brother part kicked in, but I am going to have to sit back and let nature take its course. I once thought that Duray had imprinted on her, but now I realize that it's more than likely lust that will fade in a while and they will become friends ... maybe ... never mind, scratch that they fight too much. There I go again, just expecting her to wake up. I felt a tear in my eye. My baby sister might not be here anymore. I took a good look at Yuma. No matter how hard he tried to hide it, his eyes were puffy from crying and his cheeks were sunken in a bit from not eating anything. This house had been like a graveyard ever since we found Tala. The only good thing is that I have found my mate ... But she doesn't know it yet. Yeah, you probably guessed it by now, it's BreeBree. Before we left, Anne Boleyn had asked BreeBree if she wanted to stay with us. BreeBree agreed until she got a place of her own, and of course I didn't mind. I'll have to tell her soon or it's going to drive me crazy. Then I heard a cry and sighed. Connor had been at it since Tala was gone. He would constantly cry wanting his sissy Tala. It's driving me crazy. Anne Boleyn does nothing but cry that it's her fault and Adam is left to take care of Connor. I can tell there is something Adam, Anne Boleyn, and BreeBree aren't telling us. We have only heard from Duray and Brazen 3 times since it all went down. It kinda pisses me off, but I guess it's their way of dealing with the situation. Avoid it at all costs. Ryan and Beau are horrible too. Beau isn't his happy self always mopping even though he has his mate right there, but since she is miserable it just adds to his. Ryan is totally different. He hasn't said a word since it happened either. I have been crazy. I think I'm slowly going insane. All Chaman and I do is sit and think, then I get up and check on Tala and pace around for a while and then do it all over again. I slowly walked out of the room hearing Yuma start talking to Tala, still praying she would wake up. I turned painfully and left them alone and went to the living room depressed with Chaman on my lap. I slowly nodded off into a dreamless sleep. Tala's POV. I slowly opened my eyes. My eyelids felt like a tons of bricks and I felt sore as hell. I slightly looked to my right and saw Yuma, but his eyes and cheeks were sunken in and he had his eyes closed, whispering something as tears leaked down his face. I wanted to brush them off his face, but something told me that I shouldn't. I tried to talk, but it just came out like a moan. I closed my eyes back because of the pressure I felt on them. I could feel Yuma look at me. I knew though he was out of his mind. I opened my eyes again and lifted my arm with all my strength and grabbed his arm. He looked at me wide-eyed and I saw tears form and a big smile on his face. "TT Tala," he stuttered. I just nodded the best I could. He hugged me, which made me grunt in the pain, but I was glad he hugged me. It felt good. "Guys, come check it out," Yuma yelled. The joy radiated in his voice. All I heard was stomping. Oh no, here comes the bunch. Help me. P-shot werewolves don't exist. Ch.14. Tala's POV. The first thing I saw was a confused Alec walking through the door. What is it, Yuma ... Tala, he yelled when he saw me sitting up. Then I was tackled by him into a hug. Ow, that hurts, I said softly. Oh yeah, sorry, Alex said. How long was I out, I asked, eyeballing Yuma a bit. I have an awful feeling he has been with me the whole time. 5 days, Yuma whispered. 5 days, I screamed, but instantly regretted it because my throat burned. I gave Yuma a look, and I knew he knew we were going to have a talk later. All of a sudden I saw Bo run in. Did I just hear Tala, he said brightly. I smiled. That goofy grin, I oddly missed it, even though I just seen it ... Wait. Oh, it has been a while. Whoops, brain fart. Hey Bo, did you eat all my Pop-Tarts, I asked casually. No, they vanished ... Tala, he screamed and pounced on me. I bared through the pain because it oddly seemed like it had been forever since I seen everyone. Then I saw Anne and Adam rush in with little Connor struggling to keep up behind them. Tala, sweetie, Adam said in a high-pitched voice, running over and hugging me for what seemed like forever. I smiled, loving the feeling of not being alone. Anne came over and took one look at me and started crying, then attacked me into a hug. I hugged her back, rubbing my hand on her back. Finally, Connor found a way to crawl onto my bed. Sissy, Tala sleeps for a long time, he said, quietly burying his head into the side of my neck. I laughed at this. Yeah, I did. I'm so sorry, Bubby, but I promise I won't do that again for a very long time, I said, smiling at his big brown eyes looking into my blue ones. He gave me a huge grin. Then I saw Ryan slowly walk up to the bed. Tala, he said, more like a question of disbelief. In the flesh, I said, grinning widely. The next thing I know, I was enveloped in a big hug. He hasn't said a word since they found you, I heard a familiar voice say. I turned my head to see BreeBree, the girl that pretty much helped me pull through. She gave me that glimmer of hope, and I'm pretty sure if she wouldn't have put those clothes tight enough on the bleeding that I would have bled to death before everyone got there. I smiled at her. Hey BreeBree, I said. She was even more beautiful now than she was then. I felt self-conscious now. It's nice to finally hear your voice, she said, smiling, giving me a light hug. Why are you here? I said, not that I don't like it or anything, I said, catching myself. She laughed. Well, your lovely friends and family here offered to let me stay here until I get a house of my own, she said happily. Great, stay as long as you want, I smiled. I looked to Alec and his attention was fixed on BreeBree. WW found his mate. I'm so happy for him. Yuma leaned up to my ear. He's whipped, he whispered, so only him, and I knew what he said. I lightly giggled. WTF, I barely giggle like that. That was specifically an airy giggle. Nope, that never comes from me. Oh well, must be the fact that I've been out for 5 days. I looked around confused. Where's DeRay and Brazen, I asked. I saw Yuma's eyes get cold. They are at their house, Bo said, still looking shocked by the fact that I was awake. Oh right, I forgot that they had their own house, I said, laughing. I leaned over to the dresser top and grabbed my cell phone. I snapped a quick picture of myself and saw how crappy I looked. I was in a black tube top and some gray sweatpants. I raised an eyebrow and looked at Alec. BreeBree and Anberlin did all the hygienic stuff, he said as I nodded. I decided I would tell the jerk and Brazen. I pulled up Brazen's number. Guess who I texted? A second later, I got a message back. No way, Z's, we will be there in a min, was what I got back. I smiled. DeRay and Brazen are on their way, I said as I heard a small growl from Yuma. I frowned. Well, look who's touchy. I looked around at all the people and smiled. These people cared. They actually cared enough to worry. Guys, I stink, I need a bath, I said, trying to stand up but fell right back on the bed. Shiz, I mumbled and tried again, this time being able to stand. Need help? Yuma asked gently, letting me put my arm around his shoulders as I hobbled to the bathroom. Thanks, you guys can go downstairs, I'll be able to walk on my own, I yelled to everyone. You go eat something, we will talk about this issue later, I said like a mother, but with nothing but pure worry in my eyes and voice. He just looked at me intensely and then left. I locked the door and saw that someone had left clothes for me on the sink. Thank you, whoever you are. I turned on the hot water and got hey. Wow, I could feel the stank running off me. Yeah, that's right, I said, stank XD. I quickly shaved and relaxed a bit more. Then got out putting on the clothes. It was a blue shirt dress with navy blue stripes and then some black ripped leggings. Nice, and it helps keep less clothes on the healing cuts. I walked out and threw my hair up sloppily in a bun and smudged some eyeliner on. What? I have an eyeliner thing. I put on the necklace Alec had gave me for my birthday. The necklace that started all of this. This crazy experience, and I had a feeling it was going to get crazier. My legs were shaky when I walked, but nothing other than that. So I walked downstairs. All of a sudden I felt some pressure on my legs. I looked down to see my little cutie. Chaman. I scratched his head for a good 3 minutes before going into the living room, Chaman on my heels all the way. I saw DeRay and Brazen sitting on the floor. Brazen was fidgeting and DeRay looked cool as ice cream. Yummy, that sounds good right about now. Wait, no, ramen noodles sound good right now. Crap, Tala, don't let your stomach control your mind. I snapped out of it. Hey guys, I said. Brazen jumped about 10 feet in the air. Tala, you're awake, he yelled and rushed up and hugged me. I smiled as he let go. It's about time. I had to do all the work at the Red Cross myself, he said, not being able to hide the grin. I stuck my tongue out at him. I looked right at Yuma and that beautiful face that looked like it hadn't slept in days. Yuma, can I talk to you alone, I said. Sure, he said, unsure. I grabbed his arm and pulled him upstairs to my room where I was positive none of them could hear me. I looked at him and crossed my arms. It was sweet for him to be there. So sweet I just wanted Wait, nope, off topic. But anyways, I am no reason to not take care of yourself. This is going to be interesting. Werewolves don't exist. ch.15. Tala's POV. Yuma looked at me a bit uncomfortable under my scrutiny. So what did you want to talk about? He asked softly, looking down a bit. Yuma, why in God's name did you stay with me that whole time and not eat or sleep? I said, dumbfounded. He began. Don't even try to deny it. I can tell by just looking at you, I said harshly. I looked at him and I melted a bit. I'm sorry, I yelled. It's just, I am no reason to not take care of yourself. If something ever happened to me, I would want you to not kill yourself over it, but go on and be normal, I said softly, looking down. I looked back up and saw he was staring at me. He walked over to me and grabbed my shoulders as to make sure I wouldn't walk away from him. Not worth it? Do you not realize how you have impacted everyone here? BreeBree just met you and she was the one begging Anne Boleyn on her knees to help you, he said breathlessly. I just looked at him, but then he cut me off. No buts, everyone here probably would have died off one by one without you, he said, getting closer with every word, especially me, he said, barely above a whisper. He was now so close that if I were to just reach my lips out a bit, we would kiss. What scared me most was the fact that I wanted it to happen. I wanted it so bad that everything in me was burning and tingling. Oh God. Just as I was about to smack my lips right into his, there was a thump at the door. I jumped away from Yuma so fast that I think I have whiplash now. A second later, Connor stumbled through the door. Sissy Tala, he was repeating. I was breathless but managed to giggle. I looked over to Yuma, who looked to be in a state of shock. Connor ran up to me and put his arms out, motioning for me to pick him up. I picked him up. Sissy Ann said something about shopping, he said, looking a bit confused. I laughed at the fact that he had started calling her Sissy Ann. Then what he said registered. Oh yeah, all of us need to go shopping and get everyone some clothes. Oh yeah, how would you like to go to the mall and get some ice cream? I asked him. He got a huge grin ice cream and Sissy Tala, he squealed. I nodded and sat him down. Go tell everyone to get ready and we will all go, okay, said, bending down to his level. I love you, Sissy Tala, he said and hugged my neck, then ran off to scream at other people. I laughed. You're going to be a good mom one day, I heard Yuma say. That's the plan, I grinned, forgetting for a second how it was a minute ago. There was an awkward silence. Well, I better go get ready, I said as I turned to walk away. I felt a hand grab my wrist, Tala said. I turned to look at his eyes. Can go out sometime, he said, looking a bit nervous. My eyes widened. Was he really asking me on a date? My wolf howled like a maniac. So many questions to ask. Is it right to do this while he's living with me? Is he my mate? What would Alec do? But at this moment, looking at this tall, dark, and handsome man, I really didn't care. All I knew is that the only thing my wolf and I were screaming was yes. A huge smile spread across my face. Sure, I said. He looked at me wide-eyed. What, he asked in disbelief. I said sure. I giggled. There I go again. Giggling like that erg. Oh, okay, how about tomorrow, he said. Sure, how about after work? You can come pick me up there, I said, laughing at his shock. It finally sunk in with him, and he grinned from ear to ear. We better get ready, you go eat, I said, still smiling yet still sternly. He nodded, and the next thing he did shocked me. He kissed my forehead. I know, not a big deal for most people, but please keep in mind I have had very little contact with civilization my whole life. I turned cherry Kool-Aid red and quickly ran out of the room and into my room, got clothes, and went to the bathroom to take a shower. For some odd reason it was kind of cold, and I didn't feel like wearing one of my usual outrageous outfits, so I put on the most conservative thing I had, but it still showed me off in all the right places. It was a black and gray striped sweater that fit perfectly, a pair of perfect black skinny jeans. I walked out of my bathroom and blow-dried my hair straight, then stuck it back into a ponytail, letting my bangs fall back into my face. I put on the necklace Alec gave me and some blue dangling earrings that matched the necklace. Then I put on some black eyeliner and some clear lip gloss. Smiling at my reflection, I grabbed my cell phone, stuck it in my pocket, and slipped on my black flats with silver studs on them everywhere. I skipped happily down the steps only to be attacked by Bo. I'm still not used to that, I laughed. He smiled and let go, and I only took one more step when I was attacked by another but smaller person. I looked down to see Connor reaching for me. I smiled and picked him up while glancing to see Yuma with a hot pocket in his hand. I breathed a sigh of relief. Thank God he's eating. He rubbed his head in the crook of my neck, making me giggle. I got sissy Tala today, and then ice cream. Best day ever, he said, spacing out best day ever. I glared at Adam. What have you been teaching the boy? I said playfully. He shrugged. I can't help it. He picks up my gay talk, he said bluntly. I laughed. This is going to be a fun shopping trip. Yuma's POV. She said yes. No way. I was going on a date with the girl of my dreams. We better get ready. You go eat, she said sternly to me. Oh, she was beautiful. And I'm whipped, but to be honest, I don't care. Then I let instinct kick in, and for some reason my instinct was to kiss her on the forehead. So that's what I did. She looked wide-eyed for a moment, then turned red, but I don't think I was supposed to know that because she quickly ran out and into her room. Alec's gonna kill me when he finds out she's my mate, but it kills me to stay away from her. Oh well, I'm just focused on the fact that I get to go on a date with her. I happily strutted down the stairs to see everyone look my way. Ryan raised an eyebrow. Why are you so happy? He asked. Is it that obvious? I'm not sure Tala wants them to know. I shrugged and went into the freezer and pulled out a pepperoni and cheese hot pocket. I warmed it up and pulled it out. Yum food after forever. Now I'm finally getting my appetite back. Now that I think of it, I could go for a good sleep, but I'm not complaining. I'm going to the mall with Tala, and I would stay up weeks for her. I sighed. Wow, I really am whipped. This girl has me wrapped around her finger. I walked back into the living room, eating my hot pocket slowly. I looked at BreeBree to see her giving me a sly smile. Oh God, she pried into my mind. That nosy brat. ... Well, as long as she doesn't go telling people. Just then I saw, and Angel herself walk downstairs looking stunning. All I could do was stare. Bo attacked her as soon as she got to the bottom of the steps. Okay, I have to admit I was kind of jealous. even though I knew for a fact he mated with Anne Boleyn. Which was odd because werewolves rarely ever mated with humans. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that she has those special abilities. My attention snapped back to her as she happily pet Shaman, went to pick up Connor, and glanced my way with a look of relief on her face. Look, I made her happy and less stressed. Wow, I just sounded like a 3-year-old that made his mom happy. No offense to Connor. I got sissy Tala today and then ice cream. Best day ever, Connor commented, rubbing his head in the crook of Tala's neck cutely. Ha ha ha, he's been picking up off of Adam XD. What have you been teaching the boy? Tala said, looking playfully at Adam. I can't help it, he picks up my gay talk, Adam said in boredom. Tala laughed a laugh that sounded like beautiful bells. Okay guys, let's go. Ray, Brayson, Adam and Ryan in Ray's car, she said, looking pointedly at Ray, daring him to challenge her. But he looked like he was in his own little world and just got up and walked out. Now Alec, BreeBree, Bo and Anne Boleyn in Alec's car, she said, then getting a frustrated look on her face, and I knew she was trying to figure out how we were going to get there. If Adam doesn't care, we could take his car, I suggested. She looked my way surprised. I'm guessing she forgot about him having a getaway car. She looked at Adam and gave him puppy dog eyes. You know, I couldn't resist that look when we were little, he said, trying to shield his eyes. Exactly why I'm doing it, she said, smirking a bit. Oh, fine. Have fun, he said, winking. She looked at me wide-eyed and blushed. Okay, go you guys, Tala said, as all of us went outside and went into separate cars. I kept getting that overprotective vibe off of Alec. Great, now I'm going to have Alec bitching at me. But on the bright side, I get almost an hour of riding in a car with this mysterious beauty which I intend to get to know a lot more. Werewolves don't exist. ch.16. Tala's POV. I grabbed Connor before going to the car and strapping him into the back seat as Yuma got in the passenger's side door. I gave Connor an old stuffed animal of mine to keep him preoccupied on the way. Then I got in the front seat and started the car. I looked over at Yuma, and he gave a heart-warming smile, and I couldn't help but smile back. So I started the car, and we were on our way. So what time do you work? Yuma asked, trying to start a conversation. Around 7 or 8, I'm guessing, I said thoughtfully. Oh, he said, still grinning. Alec's birthday is coming up. He'll finally be 20 years old. I'm going to try and buy him his present. You want to sneak off with me and help? I asked, hoping to spend more time with him. Yeah, he said really quick, then he realized that he had said it so quick and blushed a light shade of red. I giggled a bit. I turned the stereo up and my burned CD came on and the song I Wouldn't Mind by He As We came on. I love this song. Merrily we fall out of line. I'd fall anywhere with you, I'm by your side. I sung along with the speakers. Yuma was just staring and it was making me self-conscious, so I stopped. Don't stop, he suddenly said. I just looked at him like he was crazy. Why, I asked. Because your voice is beautiful, he said, and then mumbled something that sounded like just like you, but I let it slide. I blushed an unknown shade of red. Thanks, I said, looking in the mirror at Connor, who was happily bobbing up and down to the music playing. After a couple more minutes of silence, but not the awkward kind, the kind that it's like you're talking but you're not, we finally pulled into the mall behind everyone else. I found a parking spot, getting out of the car and getting Connor out, who clung to me and wouldn't let me put him down, so I guess I'm carrying him all day, which shouldn't be too hard since he doesn't weigh that much. All of a sudden, Bo popped up. Tala. I missed you, he yelled. I laughed. Bo, it's been like 20 minutes, I said. So Bo just said and started walking toward the mall. I just laughed and shook my head, carrying Connor on my hip and walking to the mall with everyone in front of us and Yuma right beside me. Adorable, isn't it? We all huddled up in the mall, so where to first? I asked, but saw that Ryan, Ray, and Brazen's attention was elsewhere. I followed their gaze and saw 3 beautiful girls huddled together talking. One girl was standing looking like she was thinking. She was tall with tan, exotic-looking skin and had long black hair with blue streaks in it. She also had a Monroe piercing, and thanks to my great sight, I could see she had chocolate brown eyes. She had on a beautiful frog necklace with a big purple gem in the middle of it. She had on a grayish-black sweater, and under it, and gray with blue and purple flowers, was a tube top. She also had light-wash skinny jeans on with black high heels. All in all, she was stunning. The next girl was talking animatedly and looked to have an attitude. She had bright red hair, which was crazy but worked for her. She had sunglasses on, so I couldn't see her eye color, but her skin tone was particularly pale. She loosely had a hat on and had a colorful rainbow bead necklace and bracelet on. Her shirt was blue and said, "Gimme a chicken sandwich and some waffle fries," and she had on some dark jeans with flip-flops on. And the last girl was laughing at the red-haired girl. She had chestnut brown hair, and big glasses actually didn't make her look nerdy, just helped her look. Her eyes were a light green color and her skin was a normal tannish. She had on a black and white jersey-looking shirt with light-wash skinny jeans and some black and white Converse on, so she looked nice. I laughed and everyone looked at me like I was crazy, and I just made an innocent face. What I asked? Alec just chuckled, always the one that can fake her way out of anything, he said, shaking his head. I took my free hand and flicked his nose. "You know it, big bro," I smiled. "Okay, now we are going to have to split up," I said. "Oh no, don't do this to me. Don't leave me," Adam screamed, throwing himself down on the floor dramatically and causing a scene. He has always been like this, being crazy. I looked at him, bored. "For one, Adam, I didn't mean like that. 2, we aren't dating. And 3, you're gay," I said boredly. Instantly he stood up and brushed himself off. "Oh, in that case, how are we splitting up?" he said casually. Everyone laughed at him. "Well, if I know you will run off on your own anyways, so Adam, you can go on your own or join anyone. I think Alec and BreeBree, Bo and Anberlin, and Yuma, Maine, and Connor," I nodded. "What about us?" I heard Ryan say. "Oh, so you are paying attention. Well, how about you, DeRay and Brazen, go talk to those girls you've been staring at for the last hour," I said smugly, and started to walk off because I had gotten one of the debit cards earlier. I heard Yuma following me. "So where to first?" I asked him. "Not sure," he shrugged. I rolled my eyes at him. "You're a lot of help," I said. "Sorry, shopping isn't my thing," he shot right back. "Touche, Yuma, touche," I said, hearing him laugh. "Well, first things first, let's go find you and Connor some clothes," I said, walking. "We are going to get you some cool clothes," I said, fixing Connor's shirt. "Yay," he said. I laughed, walking to a hot topic. "Don't judge me. They had everything here, even kid clothes. Crazy, right?" "I know." So I shopped around for a while, and we ended up finding 3 or 4 outfits for Connor, and I forced Yuma to get a couple of band shirts, and I bought a couple for myself. Oh, and I also found Alec's present. As the cashier swiped my card, I took a good look at him. He was pretty good looking with his bright blue eyes and brown hair. He winked at me. "Put in your PIN number, and I'll bag all this up for you," he said. I smiled politely, then heard a growl. I elbowed Yuma in the stomach with my free arm and continued to put in my PIN. The cashier smiled and gave me my 3 bags. "I need you to sign this paper, and here's your receipt," he said as I signed the usual paper, and he wrote on my receipt and stuck it in one of my bags. I still saw the sour look on Yuma's face. "Thanks," I said, grabbing the bags and walking off. "Here, let me grab those," Yuma said, grabbing the bags from my hand. "Thanks," I said. "So Connor want that ice cream now?" I asked. "Ice cream?" he squealed happily. "Oh, little buddy," Yuma said, putting a hand over his ear. Connor just giggled and we walked to an ice cream store. "You guys go sit down and I'll go get it. Just tell me what you want," Yuma said. "Well, aren't you being a sweetie today?" "I want mint chocolate." "What do you want, Connor?" I asked Connor. "I want chocolate," he said loudly. He's just the cutest kid ever. "Okay, 1 mint chocolate, and chocolate coming up," Yuma said like a waiter. I giggled and walked over to a table with 3 chairs. I sat Connor down in one on the side, and I sat to the left side of him. "I think Yuma likes you," Connor said, looking at me adorably. "How do you know that?" I asked him. "He looks at you like Daddy looked at Mommy before they died," he said. How in the world did this adorable little 3-year-old even know what death was? How did he know that was his daddy looked at his mommy? How did he even remember his parents? Oh, poor Connor. I already love him like he was my own little brother. I didn't get a chance to say anything else because Yuma came back with our ice cream. "Here you go," he said, reaching me mine and giving Connor his. I saw Yuma had cookie dough. Yum. I reach into my pocket to give him the money, but it's like he knew what I was doing. "Nope, it's on me," he said. I started. "Nope," he said. I growled a bit and stuck my money back in my pocket, seeing the triumphant look on Yuma's face. We started to eat our ice cream and after a few minutes Connor had it all over his face. I laughed. Connor, it's everywhere. Hold still, let me clean it up, I said, grabbing some napkins. Sorry, sissy Tala, he said. I smiled, nothing to be sorry for, hun, I said, starting to wipe the stickiness off Connor's face. "Aw, what a cute couple, and their son is adorable," I heard as I looked to see an elderly couple. I blushed 50 shades of red while I finished wiping off Connor's face. I looked at Yuma and he was just smirking, looking like he was daydreaming. "I'm done, sissy Tala," Connor said. "Okay, bud," I said, cleaning his face off again. "Ready to go?" I asked Yuma. "Yeah, let's go, I'm ready to find the others," he said, and I nodded, getting up. I suddenly hugged Yuma. "What's that?" for he asked, surprised for being so nice today and helping me with everything I said. Anytime he grinned as I picked up Connor and started to walk toward the entrance of the mall. As I rounded the corner, I saw what I hoped to see. Ryan, DeRay, and Brazen talking to those girls. Score 1 for Tala.